Welcome to the GAMERamble video review for Atom Zombie Smasher, narrated by me, DarkCloud. As always, the full text version of this review can be found on the GAMERamble website linked below. Please keep in mind that this review was originally published in 2011. The TLDR is that Atom Zombie Smasher is one of those games that look deceptively simple, but once you start playing, the hours fly by. It's got a lot of replay value, and while the visuals are very basic, they convey the sense of urgency and excitement very clearly. All in all, it's a game that should be added to your collection without hesitation. Gameplay receives a 9 out of 10. Your job is simply to save citizens while killing zombies. Graphics receives a 9 out of 10. The visuals are as basic as you can get, but still very stylish in their own way. Sound receives a 9 out of 10. The wacky music somehow fits the game perfectly, and the sound effects are good too. The overall score for Atom Zombie Smasher is 9 out of 10. And now for the full review. The population of Sao Shasitu is in panic. The Z-hordes are closing in fast, and due to a malfunction, the rescue helicopter is flying at reduced speed. The mercenary infantry squad 982nd Lucky Boards is doing their best to keep the Zeds away from the LZ, but nighttime is rapidly approaching. The Zoo's Eagle sniper outfit picks off Zeds one by one, but things look grim with a Mega Z heading towards them. The Battle of Sao Shasitu might be lost, but the war for New Vos Ares will rage on. Set in a fictional South American country in the 1960s, Atom Zombie Smasher is a unique take on the apocalyptic zombie outbreak scenario. With the country being overrun by hordes of undead, it's your job to evacuate the population safely. Killing all the zombies, or Zeds as they're known in the game, will put the territory under your control. Still, with a limited amount of mercenary forces under your control, the best you can usually hope for is to get most of the citizens evacuated before nightfall, when the Zed comes out in full force. It's a war of attrition, as you'll gain points for civilian rescues, Z eradication and controlled regions. The Z also receives points for infecting civilians and holding regions, and the first side to reach a predetermined score will win the game. It sounds simple, but there's plenty of depth with random modifiers, unlockable units and the ability to earn experience points and upgrades. While the game is played out in real time, it also has a strategic turn-based feel to it. You have an overworld map filled with territories from which you select your next mission. Each has a threat level of 1 to 4, with the first being easy but low on points. In comparison, the latter is a full-blown epidemic with no survivors that can spread to neighboring territories. Units are randomly assigned before each mission, if you play the vanilla game, which can really screw you over sometimes. Once you've selected your territory, you're given time to set up your units in strategic positions. Besides the helicopter, for which you must set a landing zone, you also have access, eventually, to snipers, artillery, infantry, mines, barricades and dynamite. You can only have access to a maximum of 3 of these initially, and they are random, so getting mines, dynamite and Z-attracting beacons will be challenging for you on a level 4 territory. However, the game has a vast selection of modifiers, allowing you to tailor everything until it suits your taste. Once you have everything set up, click Done and watch as all hell breaks loose. The whole game is viewed from a top-down second perspective, and the visuals are as plain as they come, yet have a stylish charm to them. The Z all pink squares, while civilians are yellow. Some missions also have blue scientists, who you'll want to rescue for the research points they bring in. Levels are randomly generated, but all look very basic, with buildings that are just brown and grey squares. It's all about the roads, however, and you'll spend a lot of time staring at these to determine the ideal position for your blockades and mercenaries. A good setup will see Zeds trudging through a maze of artillery bombardment and sniper fire, but overlooking weak spots can see your precious yellow blocks turn into pink ones at an alarming rate. Yes, the Z not only cost you civilians, but also infect them, meaning a rogue Z in a crowd of civilians can quickly spell your demise. Sometimes sacrificing a few civilians along with their attackers is the most humane thing to do. Later on in the game you can decimate the Z with llama bombs that destroy them from orbit, but while playing with the default settings, gaining a complete victory in the campaign is anything but easy. Sometimes luck will be on your side and you'll get random mission bonuses like longer daytime and slower Z, but mostly the odds are very much against you. The ending remains the same whether you win or lose, so there isn't a victory. A nice selection of achievements for the Steam version and mod support with a built-in file browser will definitely keep you coming back for more. You can even tackle the levels with 2 other players for some cooperative gameplay. The game has a bizarre sense of humor, as illustrated by the comic book style vignettes you are treated to occasionally. We won't spoil any of these, but strange as there are, a few had us laughing out loud. Like the visuals, the audio is also pretty minimal, but still done very well. The soundtrack is done by a group called The Volcanics, and while it's not our style, we must admit that their songs are very catchy and fit the game perfectly. Some nice sound effects also complement the quirky songs. There's no actual speech, but you'll hear snippets of radio chatter from your mercenaries and some ambient noises. Mostly you listen to the sound of zombies munching your civilians. Once you have access to the heavy firepower, you'll also hear lots of explosions. Atom Zombie Smasher is not going to appeal to everyone, but there's no denying how addictive it is once you're sucked in. It might appear to be just another indie tower defense style game, but there's much more to it. This is one of those titles you'll keep returning to long after completing it. Thanks for joining me for this Atom Zombie Smasher PC review. Remember to like, subscribe and share. Until next time.